Okay. Take your time.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Dirk Lueth. I'm here in San Francisco in a person meeting. It's also a rare thing. And yeah, so my story goes back. Originally, I'm from Germany. I co-founded 2 companies over there, the Financial Times in Germany, then a company in the fintech space. I moved to Silicon Valley in 2009, got really early involved in 2011 already in this so-called decentralized ledger technologies or blockchain technologies. And then, you know, developed a couple of ideas during that time, also and helped other startups to raise capital or enter the US market. And then in 2018, I put myself together with 2 of my friends, Mani Honigstein and Idan Zuckerman. We had actually one of our game nights, and they were coming from the social casino space. They started a company in that space. I came more from the blockchain, fintech, and let's say platform space. And what we then said is, okay, what, we're talking about, okay, what can we do together? Because we were friends, and we were playing actually the game of Monopoly. I'm sure everyone knows in the audience and has played it when they were young. Maybe they even play it today. And I said, what if we take that idea of Monopoly, combine it, and at that time there was also Stranger Things, quite a thing. I don't know if one of you had seen it on Netflix. That's a parallel world which looks like the real world. There's some monsters in there. Anyway, it's a parallel world, and we said, okay, let's combine that. Let's take Monopoly. Let's take a parallel world, and the real world actually, and take blockchain technology. That's how then Upland was born. And to give you a quick intro, I don't have any slides here. Can I see that? It's hard to see. Okay. I want to show you my llama, but I think it doesn't come across. We started Upland then in 2018. It was actually called Upland.me. Maybe you can come fire up the website, Upland.me. Upland.me is our website, and at that time we already picked .me as a URL, because we said, okay, it's all about the metaverse, and that's how we started. And now metaverse is actually a big thing, because at the beginning we said, okay, not going to use the words metaverse or NFTs because no one really understands that. But I think things have significantly changed since then. Yeah, so let's maybe walk through a little bit what Upland does, and then also trying to mix in a little bit, the general, development, what we're currently seeing. Was, I think, I've been so long in the space now, but I think that we are really in front of a new revolution. And there's a German philosopher who once said, first, every idea or innovation goes through different phases. The first phase is when oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, now you can see it. Okay, that's Upland. There you see our little llama, by the way. It's a mile-speed chain. That's our hero. And but back to the maybe we can leave on the side. We can maybe click around a little bit, but I tell you then maybe. Okay. Yeah. So he said actually the first phase is when an idea gets really cool, everyone laughs at you, right? And then the second phase is when it gets opposed, right? Everyone says, oh no, we don't do that here. And the third phase is completely self-evident. Everyone says, you know what, I always told you, I knew this was going to happen, and so on. And right now, I think we're a little bit in the phase between people are laughing. You see, we have a llama. Is that really serious business? Gaming cannot be serious, right? And then you have the phase, where people are opposing it. It's all bloatware. It's just hot air. It's nothing where people really are going to do anything. So long story short is we started Upland in 2018, and we said, okay, when you look at crypto and blockchain, it's complicated stuff. No one really understands it, right? And just maybe the elite, the crypto aficionados, for them, it's easy to understand. But otherwise, for the average person, you cannot tell them, hey, you need a passphrase. And when you lose that passphrase, you need a private key. But when you lose your private key, you need your passphrase. And when you lose it, well, everything is gone, right? Great value proposition. I think that's still not a hard value proposition for most of the people. And we wanted to avoid that. Say, okay, we really want to build something which is suited for for a mass audience. So, and today, when you think about Upland is an app, and I explain exactly what we do, but it's available on iOS and Android, also on the web. You can use credit card and PayPal on the web. You can use also crypto to purchase, our in-app currency, how it's called. And we also have what is called fiat out. You can sell NFTs, digital goods, to other players for US dollars. So, so then we said, okay, well, so when we got inspired by Monopoly, how should it look like? And when you think about Upland, what you need to do is, so you can download from the App Store, you zoom in, you get like Google Maps, you zoom in, you see a map of here, we are right now in beautiful San Francisco. You zoom in and you see actually the property borders, and then you can purchase that property. Unfortunately, I have to tell you, San Francisco has been sold out since almost a year now, because it goes very fast these days, and come to some KPIs in a second. But it's very simple. So you get the map application, you zoom in, and you purchase the property. It's just a piece of land, nothing else, what you purchase. And in the beginning, you found probably some properties in San Francisco for 50 cents. And it is, our philosophy is also, have a little bit lower prices, not always the big, millions of dollars, what you see in the press. However, we sold, as example, also the property where you find in real life, the Rockefeller Center in New York, you find that we sold it for $40,000 US. Yep. But the idea is really right now that we have 16 cities live. You don't have to be in those cities, but you can purchase those properties and you start earning a yield on it, 70% a year of our in-app currency. Let's say you purchase something for 100 UPEX, which is roughly 10 cents, then you earn 1.7 cents a year just for the pure fact you're earning it. That's why because we're kickstarting the economy, because what's very new here, we're building a real economy. It's not a pseudo economy, something like a land, like a country, right? We want to think about it. So, so once you have that property and you own it and it's on the blockchain, you truly own it, you can sell it on the marketplace, or what you can do is you can, and that's our first pillar, play, you can start completing a collection, 3 properties on the same street. So once you completed that collection, you increase your yield. Or what you do is maybe 3 museums, which is harder to get. Now you need to trade with other players, engage with other players, right? But then once you complete that collection, you earn even more yield, which is interesting. So, and then you have other gamification elements in there with treasure hunts, scavenger hunts. We have live city tours. For instance, in Chicago, we ran the mob tour where, people were going together through the city, experiencing where all the mafia was and Capone and what have you. So it was really fun. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar is then earn. Earn means that people can start building houses on their properties, except when it's a landmark, because we are based on the real world. Except when it's a landmark, you can build a mansion where there maybe in real world there's a skyscraper or something. So that's and earn also means that you can start and run and operate a shop there, because our vision is that we create hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of entrepreneurs going forward. They can start selling digital goods to others. Maybe you want to we want to start and run a shop for outside decor. You want to sell a virtual water fountain to other players, right? So just today we launched actually the first stores, and I got actually some text message from some of our community members. They're super happy. They sold for worth of I think $5,000 their first stuff. So it's really crazy what they're doing. We already hear from lots of players that they're saying, hey, we are actually quitting our daytime job. We just want to make money in Upland going forward. So that's the earn component. The special is also feature what we're going to have is what we call NFT portal. We're launching that. You will be able to import NFTs like digital art from other blockchains into Upland. Currently, we only do that for Wax, but we're going to launch that for Ethereum, Solana, and all the others as well. And then you can run a digital art gallery in, let's say, in your house in San Francisco, virtual home, or in New York. So that's how we see it. That's the earn component. But you can also in the future render services to other players and so much stuff, because that's why we call Upland also the new land of opportunity and creativity. So you find new jobs, or you can become super creative and create something what others maybe aspire to have, and they don't have the skills, so you can create it for them, and you render services, and you get paid then in Upland to do that for others. So, and And then the third pillar, which we have, is Connect. So we're going to launch this a little bit later this year, but we already have a big community on Discord of 50,000 people there. So where people actually can go and meet in virtual coffee shops and chat around and do things. So that is Play, Earn, Connect, our three pillars for the consumers. And that's how we develop, and more features to it. And speaking of developing more features, we are also what we call a Metaverse platform. We want other third-party developers to add their own apps on top of Upland, or their own mini games, or their own features, and so on. And or other creators can come in and so on. So really want to accelerate that and do much more.
Are there tokens or?
So yeah, that's a very good question. So we are based in the US, which makes it always harder in terms of regulation, unfortunately. So right now we have our in-app token, right? But it's not tradable on an exchange. How people extract monetary value out of Upland is selling their NFTs to other players for US dollars. And that is, and for that, you need to have a money transmitter license in the US, and that's what we do together with Telia, which is a subsidiary of Second Life, and so we're allowing to do that. Yeah.
So are there, are all the cities right now in the US, or is it international, or?
No, right now we are in the US. We are live in 16 cities. So next week, Los Angeles going live. People will probably go crazy because we're selling out cities. Bronx we sold out, I think, in 2 hours. It goes really super quick. How people they're really hungry to purchase those properties.
They purchase it like with cash, or how much? Like if you sold the Bronx, how much did you raise?
That number I don't have on top of my head, but it's probably that's a good question. Bronx, how many properties do we have there? I think like 40 or 50,000 properties, but I don't have for the Bronx exact number. I don't have on top of my head right now. But
more than 100,000?
Oh yeah, much more. Yeah.
And do people sell it back and forth?
They start selling it back and forth in order to complete the collection and so on.
So let me ask you a question. So like, I have a residence in Connecticut, and Connecticut is a very sleepy area, but then also all the big chains moved into all the beautiful downtown areas, right? Sleepy downtowns. So do you have the ability for like big chain franchises to move in and open up stores and pay for that and stuff like that? I mean, so I imagine they'd be hungry to develop brand for younger people.
That's exactly the idea, because also for reaching younger people is more difficult via traditional media, even via social media these days. So, and they're all in these parts of the metaverse. So to your question is, so we have 3 strategies. We want to bring because we are based on the real world. So we want to bring real world brands into the metaverse. So we have three categories we're focusing on. One is sports and entertainment. So for instance, we have a deal with the NFL Play Association, where we actually sell 3D assets to players, which are gamified. I can explain the gamification behind it. Then we have mobility. So we have a partnership with Hyperloop. So there's a virtual Hyperloop between Cleveland and Chicago. People can take the Hyperloop. And we are going to introduce cars soon in Upland. We're talking to car manufacturers right now. We're introducing the real world cars, virtually into Upland. And then the third pillar is commerce, because we strongly believe that we call that community commerce. Community commerce is also going to be drastically changed going forward. It's not just going to be your flat, internet website. It's going to be something much more experiences, which somehow mixes with real world on one hand. So you can have a store in the real world, to your question, in Connecticut, but at the same time, people do maybe something virtually, right? Sometimes it's gamified, right? They maybe complete the mission. Because they complete the mission, they can go to the store and get maybe a special good or something. So there's a lot of stuff you can do, and what actually the younger generation also expect to do, right? They expect to go somewhere that there's a digital representation of the same place.
How many registered users do you have right now?
So we have 2 million registered users, and we have 160,000 landowners roughly. And we have 600,000 monthly active users. Yeah.
So we just had Oasis Pro Market speaking earlier today, and they're like a regulatory exchange, right? And I guess one of the things they've always brought up with token-based economies is that you have to create kind of a market-making capability. So all these users have to be able to interact in a way that promotes interactivity, commerce, etc. How do you solve that problem? I know you said there's 3 pillars. but what's the special sauce in the pillars that make people?
Yeah, again, we're always a fan of three. We have again three things here.
Okay.
So we do it's gamification, context, and geolocation, right? So when you think about it, let's take the example of the NFLPA, what we're doing. So when you have football games, right? So we gamify it. So what you need to do is now, for instance, you can go and purchase virtual jerseys or virtual footballs, right? Like very unique, and you can start collecting them. And the more you collect, you can merge them, you can trade them, and you increase your fan score, right? So that's the first thing. That's the gamification. On the day of the game is now the context. Okay, there's a game. You go into the stadium, and now you can stand in line. And the higher your fan score is, the more higher the likelihood is that you get a one-of-one NFT. For example, if there's, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers, whoever, right, who scores, important point or whatever he does, is and this is a very unique NFT, right? With the football he had, right? Then you have actually the opportunity to get exactly that football, right? So that's how we engage people. So we engage, and there's always something to do in Upland. I mentioned those live events, but the gamification itself, yeah.
It's almost like micro branding, right? Like you're highly targeting a group of people and kind of incentivizing them with something that's very low cost for them to do, but there's something at the end. That's where the gamification comes in, right? So in a lot of these premium models, you've got like, let's talk about like a Tinder or something like that, which is heavily gamified, or most games. 90% of people don't pay anything, but then 10% pay something to be optimal, and then like 1% pay a ton, right? Is that what the model is for Upland as well? Is that there'll be some people who are fanatical users and they will, or you think you'll be able to draw everybody to some kind of economic activity? Yeah,
so maybe to take one step quick back. So blockchain is very unique because when you transfer an asset to a user on blockchain, you cannot take it away from them anymore. So the freemium model always relies on that you have some stuff you can give away and so on. So in our world, what we have actually created is a freemium model. So at the beginning, when you join Upland, you get free UpX, $6, so $5 to $6, depending on the promo you chose. And then you actually you start engaging in the game, and you need to have a 10,000 UpX, equivalent of $10, in order to become an Uplander. Before that, we have access to the private keys, and if you don't sign in and extend your visa once a week, you lose actually you recycle your assets, right? So that's the freemium model. But then you have people who can now grind themselves the way up, right? And they can, because they can participate in treasure hunts and go over that, and then they can income and theoretically for free. But what we see is, because in our world, users or our citizens, they truly own the assets, and that makes such a big difference. People are willing to spend much more for that, because when you truly own them, then you're willing to put much more effort into it, and and we have a very high retention rate. So when you think about games, normally freemium games, they have 15%, let's say day seven retention, where people are coming back. We have actually 65%, right? So you see that the whole ownership aspect really drives people coming back to the app.
Well, I mean, I think it's really fascinating. Again, so so people have to meet sort of a litmus test. So of the 2 million users you have, are they all in the United States, or are they other places, or?
No, we have roughly 50% of the US, and then 50% rest of the world. Lots of Western Europe, right? Germany, not because I'm German, but for whatever reason resonates with them. In Britain, English, and so the game is only available in English right now.
Is it multilingual or?
Not yet. It's English. That's also surprising, right? That lots of other foreign countries are coming in and want to start playing, because they know one day we're going to be in Spanish or whatever language, and then they're going to be in early.
So when you went, so you just got a round of financing from which VC?
So we raised in October. We raised 18 million on a $300 million valuation, and I was quite happy. I mean,
Series A, Series
that
B?
was a Series A. Right. So, and the round was led by Animoca Brands, which is actually it's more a strategic investor, but they're investing to all blockchain companies around the world. So they invested in everyone, and they also really liked our model, and so they led the round, and we had some other investors coming in as well, right? So yeah, so that's where we're currently 100 people. We are already, even though we launched 2 years ago, we're profitable, and we're currently hiring 3 to 5 people. So if you are looking, if you know someone, always refer them to us. Yeah.
Great. And you conceptualized it and you became profitable on a seed round?
Oh yeah.
And how big was the seed?
The seed was 1.8 million.
And what was that valuation? Just ballpark.
That was late 2018, 5.5 pre.
Wow. So they've done, the seed investors have done well.
Yeah, they have done very well, right? And actually we jumped a little bit, right? Normally after seed, you go maybe to 40, 50 million valuation, and we directly went to 300 million valuation.
Automatically profitable, et cetera.
Yeah, and our KPIs are just so strong. I mean, I've seen also, as I said, I've mentored over 30 companies, and my co-founders, I also was part-time VC. So we've seen that, and it's just incredible, the KPIs which we have. It's just,
Do you think it's a matter that you built something and the world is moving towards you, and it may being obvious because of COVID? Obviously, so the statistics there's 2 stats we like to quote is that, 15 years ago, Hollywood was about a $5 billion industry, and gaming was like around $3 billion, and now gaming is $200 billion, and Hollywood is a couple of $1 billion, right? So it's phenomenal takeoff, and then because of COVID, more and more people have fled to gaming. I think there's also a statistic that Beyonce has got 400 million followers on social media, had a concert, and she never had more than 60,000 concurrent followers, but they had a League of Legends tournament, and I think ultimately it had 16 million total followers, and it never got below 1 million people, at the same time. So do you think that, just that there's a social... Hi guys, we dropped, but we're back. So anyway, so you had some great earlier, and maybe just repeat, this phenomenal growth that you've had and what your targets are, and where do you guys see yourself in a year or two?
So in a year or two, we actually obviously want to go international, right? So right now we have just the US up and running, and from product, you always say you want Upland to be an everyday's companion of people, right? Where people just log in to have fun, to socialize with others, or to earn some money, and yeah, like every entrepreneur's dream, right? Hopefully we move from 100 people to, it's not a people's thing, but we probably need more people, right?
Users like the last 3 years, like how many users did you have 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago?
We had early this year. We had, I think, last year, 2022 now, but we had roughly 10,000 daily active users. Now we have 150,000 daily active users. So ideally, we have 5 to 10 million daily actives in 2 to 3 years. Right?
Yeah, great, fantastic. So, well, that's fantastic. It's an amazing story. I think it's really something that everybody here is looking for in terms of success. So, and do you see an exit, or are you going to just operate this, or what do you see happening?
It's not our main focus at the moment, right? We just want to grow the company, and we're not actively, we're probably going to raise another round, right? In order to have really go aggressively expand international now. So that's even though we haven't touched our last money yet, but we really want to go quicker and faster, and we want to go hire 10 people, 15 people all around the world today, right? Just to build that out. So that's the next step for us, and then we have to see, but normal exit scenarios, right? Either
amazing.
Right,
it's a great story, Dirk, and I'm glad we've run into each other. So fantastic, and way to go.
Thank you. Bye bye everyone. Thank you.